The Dirac equation proposed by Paul Dirac in 1928 is one of the most beautiful equations in physics. It united two great ideas, quantum mechanics, which governs the very small, and special relativity, which governs the very fast, into a single elegant framework. And from that union came an astonishing result. It not only described how electrons behave, but also predicted the existence of antimatter, the positron, years before it was actually discovered. It also explained why electrons have an intrinsic spin, a kind of built-in angular momentum, even though they aren't literally spinning like tiny planets. But beneath these successes lies a deeper puzzle, an ontological one. Dirac's equation also produces negative energy solutions. At first, these seemed impossible, as if the universe were filled with invisible holes of negative energy. To make sense of this, Dirac imagined a sea of filled states, the Dirac sea, where the essence of an electron would appear as a positively charged particle, the positron. This worked mathematically, but it left a question that still lingers today. Do these mathematical structures, the spinor, the sea, the negative energies, represent something real in the fabric of the universe? Or are they simply tools, clever patterns that let us predict outcomes, but not reveal what reality truly is? In other words, Dirac gave us not only one of physics' greatest equations, he gave us a mirror, forcing us to ask, what does it actually mean to describe reality? This report explores how Dirac's mechanics connects with a deeper metaphysical framework called inner ontology. In traditional physics, the Dirac equation describes how particles like electrons behave when quantum mechanics and relativity meet. But I.O. invites us to look beneath that, to ask why such an equation should exist in the first place. I.O. begins with the idea that reality is not built from separate particles or fields, but from inner indistinct things, or IOIs, primal states that exist before any clear distinction is made. Each IOI holds a perfect balance between inward coherence, which binds and stabilizes, and outward differentiation, which expands and diversifies. You can think of an IOI like the still point between breathing in and breathing out, a pure symmetry before motion begins. From the dynamic rhythm between these two directions, all structures, energy, mass, even space-time begin to emerge. Seen this way, the Dirac equation isn't just a formula that happens to work. It's the mathematical echo of this deeper rhythm, the universe's way of expressing the tension and balance between inward and outward tendencies at the quantum relativistic scale. In short, I.O. reframes Dirac's mechanics as a visible wave on a much deeper ocean, a manifestation of the universe's generative inner flow. Let's dive into the strange beauty of the Dirac equation, one of the most elegant and puzzling results in modern physics. The Dirac equation describes how quantum particles like electrons behave when we account for both quantum mechanics and special relativity. But to make the math consistent with relativity, Dirac discovered that the wave function psi couldn't be a simple number or even a three-dimensional vector. It had to be a four-component spinor, something richer, more layered. This spinor naturally produces two kinds of solutions: positive energy states, which describe ordinary matter like electrons; negative energy states, which seem to describe particles with energy, negative energy. Here's where the paradox begins. Negative energy doesn't fit our everyday picture of physics. It would mean particles could fall endlessly into lower and lower energy levels. To solve this, Dirac proposed a bold idea, the Dirac, a vast ocean of negative energy electrons completely filling the vacuum. In this picture, a positron or antimatter particle is just a hole in that sea, like a bubble rising through water. This imaginatively successfully predicted antimatter before it was even discovered in the lab. But ontologically, something still feels uneasy. If the vacuum is filled with infinite negative energy, why can't we detect it? What is this sea made of, and does it truly exist? The Dirac equation works, but it also opens a window into something deeper, suggesting that the fabric of reality might hold hidden layers of balance and inversion far beyond our direct perception. In the Dirac equation, something strange happens. To describe a single electron, the math insists we use 4 components, not 1, not 2, but 4. These form what's called a bispinor, and it naturally produces two mirror sets of energy states, positive and negative. At first glance, this seems purely mathematical, but there's a deeper question hidden inside. Is this dual structure just a clever mathematical trick to keep relativity consistent, or does it reveal something fundamental about reality itself? Dirac himself tried to make sense of the negative energies by imagining a vast sea filled with invisible electrons of negative energy. When one of them is missing, we see it as a positron, a particle of antimatter. It was an extraordinary idea, correct in prediction, but uneasy in meaning. Because if that sea were real, it would contain infinite energy, something we can never observe. Here, IO takes a different path. Instead of treating negative energy as a problem to patch, IO treats it as a sign, a trace of a deeper inner symmetry that physics has not yet recognized. The Dirac bispinor then is not just a description of the electron's behavior. It's an artifact of a deeper ontological rhythm, the field of IOIs. In this view, the positive and negative energy states are not opposites, but directional modes within a single inner continuum. The whole and the particle are no longer two entities. They are two expressions of one relational field. In short, Dirac's equation didn't just describe electrons. It accidentally revealed the primitive duality of existence, the inner pulse that underlies all matter and motion. At the deepest level of inner ontology, everything begins with what we call the inner instinct. It's not a particle, not a wave, not even a thing in the usual sense. It's a pre-categorical seed, a kind of fertile indistinction that holds the potential for both inward and outward motion before it exists. You can imagine it like the calm surface of a perfectly balanced sea. No ripple, no direction, yet capable of giving pulse to every current and tide. Mathematically, we describe this state as an equal superposition of all inward and outward possibilities. It's a condition where in and out are not opposite, but co-present in symmetry. Now, IO takes the familiar complex number, yes, the numbers we use in physics and engineering, and interprets it ontologically. In this view, the real axis represents inward coherence, the tendency to integrate, to unify. The imaginary axis marked by that mysterious eye represents outward differentiation, the act of expansion and manifestation. So, all the identity isn't just a mathematical elegance. It's a map of reality's generative rhythm. The imaginary unit I is not imaginary at all. It's the very page shift that makes outward existence possible. When two IOIs interact, something extraordinary happens. They entangle directionally. This is inner entanglement. Through this entanglement, they form what we call a spinner, a self-coherent twist in the fabric of the inner field. This is the true origin of spin, not as a property added to particles, but as a structural dance between inward and outward tendencies. Because each IOI already carries directional saturation, when two try to occupy the same state, they resist. This gives rise naturally to the Pauli exclusion principle. It's not a rule imposed on matter, but a built-in ontological constraint emerging from the IOE field itself, and the famous spin one-half behavior of fermions. In IO, it's the result of two IOIs forming mutually orthogonal inner pages, like two intertwined loops that only return to their starting configuration after a full profile rotation. This 720-degree twist is not a quirk of quantum math. It's the signature of what IO calls ontic torsion, the fundamental twist of being that gives rise to structure, direction, and identity. So, the IOI is not just the foundation of matter. It's the generative pulse of the cosmos itself. Integration and differentiation, inward and outward, real and imaginary, all woven into one living geometry. Now we move beyond the quantum realm, beyond the Dirac's equation and even beyond the quantum electrodynamics, into the cosmic scale of IO. In traditional physics, matter bends space-time, and this curvature is what we call gravity. But IO turns that idea inside out. It proposes that matter doesn't create gravity. Gravity creates matter. Here's how. Imagine the universe not as a vast emptiness filled with particles, but as a living ocean of IOIs. Those primal instincts we described before continuously folding inward and outward. Each inward fold is an act of self-coherence, a move toward unity, while each outward wave is an act of expansion. The interplay of these motions across all scales forms what IO calls the global IOE field, a field of universal entanglement where every local structure participates in a shared ontological rhythm. Gravity in this view isn't a force pulling objects together. It's a tension field, the deep systematic pressure of the cosmos toward inwardness, toward coherence. Whenever IOIs fold inward, their collective symmetry creates a zone of ontic compression. That's what we experience as gravitational attraction. At the same time, the universe never collapses entirely inward. The outward rhythm, differentiation, expansion, continuously unfolds alongside it, and this is what shows up in cosmology as cosmic acceleration, the expansion of space itself. So, gravity and expansion aren't opposing forces at all. They are complementary pages of the same inner rhythm of being. The universe breathes. Inward coherence gives rise to matter and structure. Outward differentiation gives rise to motion and cosmic scale. Together, they form the pulse of existence itself. In this way, IO doesn't just extend Dirac's mechanics. It redefines the very foundation of what we call physics, not a set of forces acting on things, but a generative rhythm of coherence and differentiation that gives rise to everything, from quantum spin to galactic curvature. We now arrive at one of the most mysterious frontiers, consciousness itself. If IO can explain the electron's spin and gravity's coherence, can it also explain how experience arises, how the universe feels itself? In traditional neuroscience, consciousness is often seen as an emergent property of brain computation. but I.O. suggests something deeper. That consciousness arises from the same directional dynamics that structure the entire physical world. The inner rhythm written into the direct framework itself. Think of the I.O. field, the universal network of inner entanglements, as an ocean of relational tension. Within that ocean, consciousness is not a separate entity floating above matter, but a dynamic modulation of balance, a subtle returning of the field's internal directions. When the system aligns smoothly, when inward coherence and outward expansion flow together, we feel joy, vitality, expansion. What I.O. calls out positive, or positive outwardness. When the flow collapses inward, losing expressive balance, we experience in negative or contraction, the past tone of sadness, withdrawal, or exhaustion. In this way, emotion is not a mere reaction. It is the field's own self-diagnostic mechanism, telling us how coherent or dissonant our local inner dynamics are. Now, what about Korea? The color of red, the sound of a violin, the taste of sweetness. In the I.O. framework, Korea are not mysterious inner things. They are phase shifts, changes in the orientation and timing of the entangled spinner field that underlies experience. Each shift in the relative phase between inward and outward components generates a distinct mode of awareness, a specific texture of experience. This structure can even be mathematically traced. The 4x4 balance transition matrix maps how these directional states transform. 16 possible transitions, each corresponding to a distinct phenomenological signature. In effect, I.O. offers a topography of consciousness, where every feeling, color, or thought corresponds to a real modulation in the directional phase space of existence itself. So rather than asking, how does matter produce mind, I.O. invites a different question. How does the rhythm of being, the eternal in and out, become self-aware through coherence? Consciousness in this view is not an anomaly in the universe. It is the universe's own symmetry breaking moment, the instant when the generative rhythm reflects itself and knows. We have now traced the long journey from Dirac's elegant but puzzling equation to the generative depths of inner ontology. What once appeared as a purely mathematical formalism, Spinner's negative energy state, antimatter, begins to reveal itself as something more profound, a rhythmic expression of being itself. Dirac gave us the first real bridge between quantum mechanics and relativity, showing that matter vibrates between two poles, positive and negative energy, matter and antimatter, existence and inversion. Yet, even Dirac wouldn't wondered what these strange symmetries meant. Were they just numbers, or signs of a deeper dual motion hidden within reality? Inner ontology proposes the answer. It sees the entire Dirac formalism as the mathematical shadow of an ontological rhythm, the constant interplay between inward coherence and outward differentiation. Every particle, every field, every vibration of existence participates in this generative motion. Think of it this way. The electron's spin is not just a mechanical rotation. It's a torsion of being, a microcosmic expression of the universe folding in and unfolding out. Antimatter, rather than an odd opposite, is simply the mirror page of that same rhythm. Even gravity, the force that holds galaxies together, becomes in this view a large-scale resonance of inward tension. And consciousness, the most intimate and elusive of all, arises from the very same structure. The same generative pulse that shapes matter also shapes mind. The universe breathes into cohere and out to express, and in that breath, awareness is born. By weaving direct mechanics into IO's generative framework, we arrive at a new synthesis, a meta-theory of reality, where physics and phenomenology, matter and meaning are no longer separate domains, but two ways of tracing the same ontological current. IO then does not replace direct legacy. It completes it. It transforms the mathematics of quantum relativity into a language of creation, a way to see that every equation, every field, every source is part of one continuous rhythm. The rhythm of the cosmos becoming itself from the inside out.